Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to tell you a story, actually more than one. It's a collection of really unsettling, real accounts. Things that happen when, the digital world kind of bumps hard against reality. We've gathered these stories from people who were just looking for convenience, maybe a good deal online, but they found themselves in situations that were, frankly, terrifying. These are the kinds of stories that make you really question who's on the other side of that screen.
Yeah, and what's quite unsettling, I think, is how these seemingly mundane things, like buying a car or selling a TV, can just escalate so quickly. They become these really disturbing encounters. We'll look at the patterns here, the chilling details, and maybe some of those subtle red flags that pop up.
Okay, so our first story. It starts with a 17-year-old, let's call him Dan. He's looking on Craigslist for his first car. Found this 2002 Honda Accord, listed for about $2,000. Just something reliable. He talks to the seller on the phone, also named Dan. Seemed polite enough at first, but there's this weird moment. Young Dan says his name and the seller pauses, like a noticeable pause. Then he says, "Dan, what a great name. That's my name too." It struck the kid as odd, a bit forced.
That slight hesitation, the almost too enthusiastic response, can sometimes signal something's not quite genuine, like maybe fabricating on the spot.
Maybe. So the next day, Dan and his mom drive out to the address. Right away, getting off the highway, the neighborhood just felt off. Bars on the windows, lots of graffiti. And the property itself was weird, tucked away in this little inlet. Not a normal driveway, but the car was there, the Honda. So they go up, they knock on the front door. Suddenly a window slides open, and this voice just calls out, "Come inside, the door's unlocked."
Oh, straight away, that's unusual, not coming to the door.
Right. Dan's mom immediately got a bad feeling, hesitated. But Dan, he's 17, excited about the car, he goes in. His mom follows. Inside, it's really dark. The voice, which sounds deeper now than on the phone, tells him to head towards the kitchen. But then, and this is where it gets really creepy, the voice calls out from down here, suggesting they do the whole transaction in the basement.
Wow. Okay, that's a major red flag. The basement. Why? That immediately sets off alarms, moving the interaction to a concealed private space before even properly seeing the item.
Exactly. That's what we call location luring, isn't it?
Precisely. It's a tactic.
Yeah.
Shift from somewhere open, even the doorstep, to somewhere private, controlled, vulnerable. It's about isolation and control before anything else happens.
Yeah. Well, Dan and his mom, they didn't hesitate then. They turned right around and got out of there fast. As they're rushing back to their car, this woman from the next building over, she calls out to them. She actually warns them, "Don't go in there." Said she'd been worried about that guy for months. Mentioned seeing random cars pulling up all the time, middle of the night kind of thing.
See, a pattern. Confirmation from a neighbor.
And get this, they asked her, "Is his name Dan?" The neighbor thought for a second and said she vaguely remembered him introducing himself once as Mike.
Mike, not Dan. Deception right from the start.
Yeah. She just urged them to leave immediately. It really felt like they dodged something awful in that basement.
Absolutely. The insistence on the basement, the name change, the neighbor's warnings, it all points to a planned, predatory situation, not just a simple car sale.
It really makes you think, that whole experience, the isolation, the weird requests, and it's scary because it's not a one-off pattern, this idea of luring someone, changing the plan. Our next story involves a family just trying to sell a TV, but it takes that manipulation even further. So this family, they're selling an old 55-inch Samsung TV, a 4K model back in 2012. Asking $200 on Craigslist. Chris's older brother, John, he sets up the ad, but uses their dad, Rick's phone number. A buyer calls, name's Toby, says he's interested, wants to pick it up that same night. Looks like, okay, sure, sends him their address. So later, Rick, Chris, and John are waiting outside with the TV, ready to go. Then Toby calls again, says he's almost out of gas, big problem, suggests they meet him somewhere else instead, a Circle K parking lot, like 15 miles away.
Okay, the sudden change of plans.
Yeah.
Inconvenience introduced. That's the first step.
Right. So they agree, load up the TV, drive the 15 miles. They get to the Circle K, and there's Toby, tall guy, heavy-set, bald goatee, filling up his black Nissan Altima. But then Toby looks at the TV and says, that's not going to fit in my car.
And there's the next step. The bait-and-switch escalation we talked about. First, the gas issue to change the location. Now the won't-fit excuse to move them again.
Exactly. He suggests they follow him back to his house. Rick, he just wants to get the sale done. They've come this far. So he agrees.
It's textbook. Create inconvenience, manipulate the desire to complete the deal, push them towards a location he controls.
So they start following Toby. And he leads them onto this really sketchy back road. Nothing but trees, road full of potholes, super isolated. Then Toby texts Rick, "My house is at the end of the road." But when they get to the end, there's no house. It's just this tall, abandoned-looking building.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They start untying the TV from their car. And suddenly, 3 other large guys jump out of Toby's Nissan. All of them pull out guns, including Toby. 4 guns pointed at them.
Just like that. The trap is sprung.
Yep. They robbed the family, took their wallets, their phones, and, of course, the TV. Rick actually managed to memorize the license plate number, reported it, but nothing ever came of it. No arrests. They said they never used Craigslist again after that. Completely understandable.
It's chilling how methodical it was. The incremental steps, exploiting that willingness to just get the transaction over with. People want to believe things are okay, you know. They've invested time, driven miles. Predators count on that reluctance to back out.
It really makes you question every little inconsistency, doesn't it? Now, this next story, it flips the script a bit. This time, the victim of a robbery uses Craigslist himself to track down his own stolen property. It leads to, well, a pretty intense confrontation. Okay, so this is also back in 2012. A guy's house gets broken into. They take TVs and Xbox, games, even his hockey skates, some cash, everything. Naturally, he's upset, starts looking online to maybe replace some of the electronics, and he sees an ad posted just that day for a 40-inch Panasonic TV, really cheap price, which is the exact brand he had stolen.
Suspicious timing and price.
Right, so he arranges to go see it. The seller's place is apparently disgusting, just a mess. He goes into this back room where the seller has the TV, and he looks at it. It's his TV, unmistakably his.
Wow. The nerve of the thief.
It gets worse. He glances over in the corner, sees another, smaller TV, and an Xbox. He walks over, picks up the Xbox. He knows his had this specific long scratch on the casing. He checks, and there it is, the scratch. It's all his stuff.
Unbelievable. So he found the guy who robbed him just by chance through Craigslist.
Exactly. So he just confronts the seller, says, "Dude, you're the piece of shit that stole my stuff?" The seller looks confused for like half a second, then gets angry, tries to play dumb. Then he lifts up his shirt, shows the victim he's got a gun in a holster, and tells the victim to just get out, leave.
Wow. The sheer audacity. Not just selling stolen goods openly, but then threatening the actual owner. It points to, I don't know, extreme overconfidence, or maybe desperation combined with a complete lack of fear of consequence.
It's incredible. So the victim wisely leaves, immediately calls the police, gives them his original police report number. But the police say they can't get a search warrant right away. The guy refused to let them in without one. It would take until the next day. The victim is furious, leaves. So that night, the victim is at home actually researching search warrants online, trying to figure out the process, and he hears it. Glass breaking downstairs.
Mary came back.
He knew instantly it was the thief. His instinct just kicked in. He didn't hesitate. Climbed straight out his own bedroom window, ran to a neighbor's house, called 911 again. This time, the police got there fast. Entered the house, guns drawn. They found the perpetrator hiding under the victim's bed.
Under the bed. Good grief.
Still had the gun on him, too.
So he went from selling the stolen goods to breaking back into the victim's house, armed. That's a serious escalation.
Huge escalation. He was found guilty. Breaking and entering with intent to commit murder, actually. Got 10 years. But even with the guy in prison, the victim couldn't stay there. He moved to a new town, changed his number, just haunted by the thought of this guy getting out and maybe coming back again someday.
I can understand that. The level of brazenness, the willingness to escalate to violence, it suggests someone incredibly dangerous and unpredictable. Likely low-risk perception, maybe psychopathic traits. It wasn't just about the stuff anymore.
No, it felt personal, like retribution.
Yeah.
Okay. Our final story tonight. This one, it goes to a really dark place, truly horrifying, and it starts so simply. A guy looking for a free mini fridge for his man cave sees an ad on Craigslist. The ad's for a free fridge. The location is described as this house, waterfront, sitting up on a tall cliff overlooking a big lake. Sounds nice, right? The seller, calls himself John, texts the guy, says he won't be there himself. Only his elderly mother will be home, and she's hard of hearing. The instructions are specific. Just let yourself in the front door, go to the far right bedroom, the fridge is in there.
Seller not present, elderly relative, instructions just walk in. Slightly unusual, maybe.
Yeah. So the guy drives out there. It's getting late. The sun is setting over the lake. The house is large, looks beautiful from the outside. A really stark contrast to what he finds inside. He texts John, "I'm here." John just texts back the same instructions. Doors open, far right bedroom. So he pushes the front door open. It was left ajar, just like John said. At first, there's this smell. like cotton, kind of a grandma's house smell. Potpourri, maybe? But as he walks down this narrow hallway towards the bedroom John mentioned, the smell changes, becomes this horrible stench, like death, like something rotting. An animal, maybe? He wasn't sure.
Oh, no, it's deeply unsettling, the shift in smell.
He gets to the bedroom door, pushes it open, and on the bed is the rotting corpse of an older woman.
What?
Yeah. Clearly dead for some time. A week, maybe 2, based on the state. He said he just wanted to throw up right there.
My God. This isn't robbery. This isn't a typical crime motive at all. Luring someone into that scene, what possible reason? It's psychological terror. Purely sadistic.
He's frozen for a second, just staring. Then suddenly he hears it, loud, maniacal laughing and stomping, coming from upstairs, directly above the room he's in.
Someone was home, besides the bot. Besides the bot.
Just bolts. Runs out of the house as fast as he can, jumps in his car. As he's speeding away, he looks back at the house, and he sees figures in 2 windows, one upstairs, one downstairs, both wearing some kind of face masks.
Masked figures, watching him leave.
Then his phone starts blowing up. Texts from John's number, all in capital letters. Ha ha ha! Then, we see you look at the windows. Followed by emojis, laughing ones.
Taunting him.
And the final text, come back inside, you forgot your fridge.
Chilling. Absolutely chilling. That's not just disturbed, it's calculated cruelty.
He drove straight to the police, obviously freaked out, showed them the texts, the number. The police investigated. They went to the house, confiscated the body, found no signs of violence on her. Natural causes, maybe, but left there like that. But despite the texts, the phone number, no arrests were ever made. The case just went cold, unsolved.
That's profoundly disturbing. The planning involved, the lure, the horrific discovery, the taunting. It suggests a motivation completely detached from typical criminal gain. It's about inflicting trauma, a horrifying power play, deriving pleasure from someone else's absolute terror, a deep, dark pathology.
It really shakes you, these stories. They're a stark reminder, aren't they? Online marketplaces, they offer convenience, sure, but they also open doors to risks we don't always think about. Every click, every message, it carries this weight of the unknown. And sometimes, the most ordinary search leads somewhere truly awful.
Absolutely. And the common thread, if you look closely, is that manipulation, exploiting trust, twisting expectations. Often it's incremental. A small change of plan, a slightly odd request, an environment that feels wrong. The red flags are usually there, even if they seem small at first. The key for you, listening, is not just seeing those flags, but understanding why they're used. They're tools for predators. And trusting your gut when something feels even slightly off is crucial.
Definitely. Whether it's a weird meeting spot like a basement, or someone changing the plan last minute, or just that feeling, that something isn't right. Listen to it. These accounts really hammer home how important basic caution is. Meet in public, well-lit places. Tell someone where you're going. Bring a friend if you can. Especially when you're meeting strangers from the internet, that digital screen can be a mask. Knowing that might just keep you safe. So those are just a few stories for today, unsettling for sure, but important reminders to stay vigilant online and offline. Thank you for joining us on this, this rather chilling journey. We really hope these insights help you navigate things with a bit more awareness.
Yeah, knowledge is one thing, but applying it, being mindful, that's what counts. Stay safe out there. And always try to see things from different angles.
If you found these stories compelling, or maybe learned something, please do consider liking this deep dive. Share it with people you know, and subscribe to the Horror Docs channel for more stories like these, more insights. Until next time, stay curious, and please stay safe.